Sonic Frontiers is the first new Sonic game in 5 years. It's really been that long. For the first time, though, it's an open-world Sonic game, which opens up a whole new realm of possibilities, but, also risks if you've ever played an open-world game. Ever since Forces, the last thing we want is another subpar or bad Sonic game, and from the previews from IGN and shit, it looked like that's what we were gonna get. Another subpar, mediocre, just flat-out bad Sonic game. But, surprisingly, things have changed. The game's out, I played it through, I literally 100% of the game, and I have nothing left to do in it. But, now I can say, is this game worth the 5-year wait? Is this the one that ends a 9-year-long Sonic shit show we've gotten from Lost World and Forces? I mean, the quick answer is yeah. The long answer, let's find out. Now, the first thing to note about this game isn't its open world, everyone knows that. It's the story. For once, it's actually a lot darker than the stories we've gotten in the last 12 years. It's a lot like the 2000 Sonic games people are starting to love again all of a sudden. It's not like Forces where it was as dark as my fucking 4th grade Minecraft emo phase. It's actually kinda dark. Sonic's friends being stuck halfway in cyberspace, Eggman being stuck in a cyberspace. He now has a daughter who is aware of what is going on. Sonic is the only one with full control between the real world and the cyberspace. The Chaos Emeralds finally have an origin, or I guess a backstory, a reasoning. We now know they're alien crystals or some shit. Tails is finally mentioning how inconsistent his character is and how much of a follower he has been in the past, for Forces, for example. And now he's actually vowing to be a true hero. Knuckles, after 30 years, is finally bringing up how guarding the Master Emerald is lonely, which is really interesting, because, like I just said, 30 years, and it's just now that we're finding out how Knuckles feels about guarding the Master Emerald all alone and shit, It's really cool how it's actually, exploring the characters more. It's not extremely dark. It's not like Sonic 06 or Unleashed, but it's finally taking a serious tone. It has depth, it has meaning, it paves the way for future games, like Tails promising to be a hero. That could actually be a trait for Tails that comes up in, the next game or something. We could be playing as Tails again. We might even get a game based around Tails. The story finally has meaning. The only complaint I would have is that this character, Sage, the new character, Sage, was all hyped up and shit in the trailers to be the antagonist, but all she really does in the game is talk about how Sonic's gonna fucking lose until she finds out he's strong, and then she just fucking dies. But in my opinion, her character as a whole was kind of carried by Eggman, because for once we finally see Eggman caring about someone or something other than just caring about defeating Sonic. It's really cool, and when she does die, Eggman's reaction is honestly the saddest part. It's extremely sad. It's really cool to see Eggman as something more than just a gag character, I feel like Orbot and Cubot definitely didn't help with that. But, now enough about the story. Sonic and the Black Knight taught me a Sonic game could have a really good story, but still be a shitty game. But thankfully, this game isn't like that at all. It's honestly extremely fun. The open world, or I guess you could say the open zones, are a lot of fun to traverse and run around in, because there's obstacles you can do to get collectibles that help you progress in the story. There's puzzles to solve, they can reveal the map, they're just fun to do. They're kind of easy though, that's the only thing. But they give you these items that you can use to upgrade your stats, because it's now an RPG. You can upgrade your strength, defense, speed, and ring count. For some reason, ring count, I don't know. I even maxed out my stats, and I still don't know what the use of the ring count is. But, there's a lot of enemies on the map to fight. There's these, mini-bosses, too, you could fight. They can be annoying and gimmicky, but some of them are really fun. The enemies and the mini-bosses are fun to fight because of the combat system. Sonic's not just using homing attacks, he actually, punches and shit. You can do stomps, you can do spin dashes. You can, there's like this mini skill tree now. It's really small, but after getting enough XP, you can kind of like unlock new skills you can use for combat. Like you can do a spin dash attack and shit. It's really cool. And you know, obviously you can combo these. You can use these moves to make like new combos and stuff. So like I said, the combat's really satisfying and a lot of fun to use. It's pretty open. And there's these little stone creatures you can find around the map, and you know, if you collect enough of them and you talk to an old stone guy or whatever, you can like upgrade your speed and ring count. Although upgrading your speed and your ring count is different from upgrading your strength and defense, because with strength and defense, you talk to this old guy and he just gives you your upgrades. But with the other old dude, you just you give him your, the little stone guys, I don't remember their names, and you have to like pick upgrade speed or upgrade ring count, which isn't a problem. The problem is that to upgrade your ring count or speed, you have to click on that option, it'll upgrade it by 1, then you have to upgrade it again, and obviously there's 99 upgrades, so clicking upgrade ring count or upgrade speed 99 times, that takes like 20 minutes straight of just clicking on a menu option. It's really slow and tedious for no reason. But other than that, I don't know. I mean, just finding those little stone creatures around the map can be boring. It's not something I ever did. Hell, I never even went after those, the strength and defense seeds that you have to find. They actually brought back Big, and you can fish with him if you have these purple coins you find around the map. Now, when you find these purple coins, you can spend them to fish with Big. And when you fish with Big, depending on what you can catch like a classic Sonic goalpost, or you can catch like a trout or some shit. You can actually buy upgrade seeds or the little stone guys, so you don't even have to go around the map grinding mindlessly. Like, it's really fast-paced upgrading and shit, which is really cool. It saved me a lot of time, like hours and hours of time, honestly. The only complaint I do have about the open world, really, is not it's too small or anything, because it's kind of like an open zone. There's like 4 zones, I guess. It's these 2D segments that are forced. Like, if you accidentally go on a dash panel, you're forced into these 2D segments, and the only way to get out of them is to complete them, so it kind of breaks the immersion. It's really annoying, but, you know, other than that, the open world's a lot of fun. When you beat the mini-bosses, you get these gears, and with these gears, you can unlock the cyberspace levels, and the cyberspace levels are the Sonic levels, if you know what I mean. Like, they're the main attraction of any other Sonic game. For me, they're kind of mixed. The boost in this game is a lot different than other Sonic games. It doesn't accelerate you as quickly as you'd like, unless you get max rings and you get like a super boost or some shit. In the cyberspace levels, you don't get this super boost, you just have the normal boost. It doesn't it doesn't damage enemies. It's really slow, so you have like no momentum whatsoever, so some segments in the game can feel really slow in the cyberspace levels. And when you're like jumping from platform to platform and shit, Sonic feels really finicky. Like, it's not very fluid. It's hard to explain, but it's something you will understand when you actually play the game. The cyberspace levels also feel really redundant because there's only 4 themes: Green Hill, Chemical Plant, Sky Sanctuary, and I think it's like Speed Highway or something. The only excuse, or I guess the excuse for these old ass levels returning for the 500th time is that the cyberspace is based on Sonic's memories. Sonic's memory must be like really shit. Goddamn, only 4 places out of like the 500 he's been to? Holy shit. There's like over 30 levels in the game too, so only having these 4 zone themes is extremely repetitive. I guess some of the levels are a lot of fun though, like they have branching pathways and shit, so they make them kind of replayable, I guess, if you want to like try and beat your old times or some shit. I don't know. So at least it's better than shit like Colors or Forces, you know? It's not like Generations level, but it's still pretty good. Speaking of Generations, they like rip some of the stages from Generations, like the Sky Sanctuary, Chemical Plant, and Green Hill. They literally have the modern versions of those zones in this game, just like really poorly remastered, I guess you could say, or demastered, I don't know. But aside from that, there's like 4 things you can do in these levels if you want to like perfect them. You beat them, you get enough rings, you get all the red star rings, or better yet, you get an S rank. The difficulty for these objectives is like all over the place. Some of the levels, the S rank's like nearly impossible to get. A lot of them it's really easy, and the rings are hard to get, but most of the time those are easy. And pretty much all the time, the red star rings are like right in front of you. They're never hard to find, and which is good. I have no complaints there. But yeah, I mean, the music in the cyberspace levels is nothing to write home about, unfortunately. I mean, I've heard some good tracks, but a lot of them are just kind of, you know, mediocre. There's this one really bad track I heard, though. It reminded me of the fucking Fall Guys theme. It was extremely torturous, because the level was really hard to beat, too, so I kept getting that theme stuck in my head, because I was still trying to S-rank that level like 30 times. So hearing that like Fall Guys music really sucked, you know? But even with all these criticisms, the cyberspace levels aren't even bad. They're fun. They're a lot of fun sometimes, but like, you know, they're just flawed. They're not creative. That's about it. But obviously that's not the main attraction, so it's excusable, you know? The bosses, on the other hand, are fucking amazing. For every boss, you go supersonic, which is insane. Every boss has great music, and they all feel different. There's this one boss that stuck out to me that had a sword and shit. When Sonic went super, I was seriously expecting him to go into his Black Knight form for some reason. I was disappointed when he didn't, but like, it would have been really cool. At the end of the fight, though, he uses a sword the boss was holding, so it's kind of like Black Knight if you think about it. That was pretty cool. But if you beat the game on hard mode, there's this true final boss, which I was excited about. Sonic goes into space and shit, you know, just like the other Sonic games, where he'd be in like a different dimension or some shit, you know? I was expecting a really cool boss fight here. What I got was pretty disappointing. Pretty much, this is supposedly the overlooming threat of the entire game, but it's just a fucking moon. I mean, the boss fight itself sucked too. It was like a toe hell bullet hell, which was already a mini-game prior to this fight, so they were pretty much making a mini-game which had no substance in the actual game. It was just like to progress in the story and shit. So pretty much this one mini-game, I think you play like twice throughout the entire game, was the final boss fight, you know? This bullet hell. And throughout the entire boss fight, I was extremely annoyed, because the boss was giving off this insane, infinite from Sonic Force energy with its edgy-ass speech, which was insanely drawn out too. Like, the entire boss fight, this speech went on, and it was really bad. I mean, just listen to it.
You fly about me like a gnat. I am inevitable. I cannot be denied.
But aside from that clusterfuck of a finale, the boss fights in all were insanely fun and interesting. Yeah, another thing about this game is its references. They don't feel like out of place or anything either. Like, Tails casually brought up fucking Dark Gaia from Unleashed, but it actually had substance. He was comparing, I think, a boss that Sonic was about to fight to Dark Gaia, so, you know, it felt deserved. It's like events from previous games actually happen, you know? So the Sonic storyline holds substance, which I thought was really cool, you know? I remember hearing, like, at the end of the game, even Styx is mentioned, so I guess Styx is actually, like, canon and not just a Boom character. But, honestly, my biggest complaint was that the game was really easy to 100%. I mean, it took me 15 hours to beat the story, and that's good. That's a really good length. But it only took me like less than 24 hours to 100% and have nothing left to do. It was definitely fun though, and that's the whole reason why I 100%ed it. It was just that fun. This game's a lot of fun. It's really flawed too. I mean, I made a video pretty much discussing my thoughts on Sonic Frontiers at the time, before the gameplay was even leaked. If you want to watch that, go ahead. I'll put it at the end card. Two of my biggest fears were that the open world would be very boring, which obviously was not the case, thankfully. What was the case, though, was the bugs and glitches. Now, this game is not as buggy as a late 2000s Sonic game, you know? The one thing is that it has a lot of fucking pop-in, which I feel kind of makes up for all the bugs and shit, because the pop-in is really bad. It happens every second. Now, this doesn't ruin the gameplay, thankfully, so it's not terrible, but it definitely makes the game look bad and hard to get into. Overall, I just also wish the cyberspace levels were more creative, you know? The stat and skill system was kind of small. I only focused on that, like, after I already beat the game. I just wish it was more, like, interactive and expansive. At the end of the day, I had a shit ton of fun with this game, and it's definitely up there with other great Sonic games. I'd probably compare this game to, like, Adventure 1. I'd probably put it, like, above Heroes, maybe. Kind of below Unleashed and Generations, but, you know, nonetheless really good. Now, I know I promised if this game is any lower than a 7 out of 10, I will literally film myself eating an entire thing of raw eggs. I'm not kidding about that. This is a bet. I'm betting my human dignity on this game. But this game's definitely above that. I don't even have to worry about that anymore. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. I hope the Sonic series can push more of this direction going forward. But overall, that's going to be it. I hope to see you all next time.
I am infinite.